So here's the thing. How much of a board game fan would you say you are? Personally, I'm more of a casual board game fan myself, sticking to the classics, Monopoly and Risk, that sort of thing. Though I haven't really played in a while, the last time I did, it was a little embarrassing.
How the hell are you winning this?
Maybe some of you are more adventurous than I am, willing to try things off the beaten path, like Mysterium or Root. Or maybe you're like my friend Ryan from college who had 2 giant tubs of board games that he would bring to campus every Thursday for board game night. That's not a joke, that's real. Hi, Ryan. However, no matter how far down the board game rabbit hole you've gone, I'm willing to bet that most of you have never played, or even heard of, Katalyka. Katalyka is an incident that took place over the course of many years, starting in 2011 on Kickstarter. You might think you know how this story's going based off that description alone, but let me tell you, you don't, as you've already looked into this, in which case maybe don't. Shut up, fuck you. You think you're better than me? Man, I'm really tapping into my roots with this one. Got a Hawaiian shirt on and a poppy. Let's go. This isn't the story of a scam or a well-intentioned project that just fell apart. No, this is the story of someone getting $8,000, finishing their project, and then going absolutely fucking insane and not giving it to anyone. If you can't tell, this is a real special case. Focus less on the actual product and more on the person running the show, Molly Friedrich, a crazy lady with ambition, a dream, and according to her, the ability to speak with celestial entities. Yes, she's that kinda crazy. So join me as I tell you the story of Katalyka, Kickstarter's craziest catastrophe. To understand the story of Katalyka, we must first understand the story of its creator, Molly Friedrich, also known as her online handle, Porkshanks. As far as I'm aware, Porkshanks got her start back in 2006 on the website Flickr, something I'm literally only learning about right now. Molly's initial uploads were a bit scattered, including her genuinely impressive LEGO builds, schematics for said builds, and comics that she drew. Molly would begin to grow a genuine audience in 2007 when she joined the steampunk scene, going from getting hundreds of views a post to tens of thousands. Her posts consisting of steampunk props and outfits that she made, as well as their design process. From what I could find, Porkshanks actually went on to be a bit of a big name in the steampunk scene at the time, getting multiple interviews in small publications, most notably Weird Tales in 2008. It got to the point where she started to sell her products and even started taking commissions for steampunk costumes and props. Though I guess it is important to note that even back then, things weren't all sunshine and rainbows for Miss Shank. One of the first things I found when looking into Porkshanks was an Artist Beware post by someone named Eden, claiming that Molly effectively scammed them out of $250. It's a long and complicated story, but basically, Eden contacted Molly to commission them to make them a cane. Molly initially accepted, only to go completely radio silent for months after accepting the money, while still posting to her DeviantArt. Eden would try to communicate with Porkshanks through every communication means possible, eventually deciding to just give up on this and request a refund. Only then did Molly suddenly pop out of the darkness saying, "Hey, sorry, I've been in jail for the past couple months." I didn't know prisoners had access to DeviantArt, but that does explain a couple of things at least. It's kinda sad though, because poor Eden just accepts this at face value and says that she's happy she's out and excited to work with her again, only for Molly to ghost her again. But that wasn't the only time that Miss Friedrich showed some eccentricities. "This is a mysterious device I picked up at a small market in the Sky Islands a few months ago, and I've been cleaning and inspecting it since then. The cord extractor returns a clear reading that comes from another dimension than this one, although it gives no specifics as to origin, and there are no silver strands currently attached to the device to read or trace other than mine from owning it. So, it does register as electronic, and it does seem to monitor electromagnetic fields. Other than that, I have no idea what this thing does." Okay. Now, to some of you, that might sound a little strange, but not necessarily alarming. It's easy to write this off as just some in-character roleplay. After all, she did crest in her character, Molly Porkshanks Friedrich, interdimensional exports and imports. But as we'll soon find, no, Molly is not role-playing here. At least, not intentionally role-playing. Despite these odd eccentricities, Molly's fanbase would only grow, and eventually she decided to capitalize on that. There is nothing wholly unknowable, nothing imagined that is unachievable. The horizon of this world is but the harbor of another. Let us become something worth telling tales of, on many worlds. You're not here to save the galaxy, you're here to play in it. These are the opening words to Katalyka's page on Kickstarter, the website where people can donate money to a project that they want to help bring to fruition. Known for such success stories as the Coolest Cooler and the Air-Powered Umbrella. Can't imagine life without those! Alright, jokes aside, there are success stories from Kickstarter. Hell, it's where the Oculus Rift came from. But it does have a bit of a reputation for failed startups and outright scams. But I'm sure this one will be just fine. As for the game itself, Molly describes it as a 1 to 4 player strategy game, and that is about the last bit of sense I can glean from this opening page. When talking directly about what Katalyka is, Molly says this: "This is a game unlike most others. I agree with those who said that a good strategy game takes minutes to learn and a lifetime to master. There are elements of this system that I've been working on developing for over 2 decades. I think that the loss of magic and mystery we experience with some of our scientific observations may be restored, and a more healthy balance of life can be found through respecting the macro-organic life and finding new ways to interact with them. Also learning to respect the old ways in a new light." Excuse me, what was that? Macro-organic life? Where the fuck did that come from? What are you talking about? But let's move past that for now, as there are plenty of other fun phrases we can learn from this Kickstarter, like the stellar consciousness of a galaxy, and the order of the singularity. Hopefully we can chalk that up to in-game lore. Hopefully. There's also just this really funny part where Molly attempts to drop a link somewhere for more information, only to just forget to actually type out the link. Still, while the initial description of this game is a little messy, it did clearly appeal to some people, as it did just barely pass its $7,500 goal, making just a bit over $7,800. I'm willing to chalk at least part of this up to Molly's internet fame. According to Molly, the game was already mostly complete. This money was just to get the materials needed to make it look a little bit more polished and then ship it out to people. The first update would consist of Molly trying to explain how the 4 card decks in her game worked. The Organica deck is based around the idea of learning to further develop your ability to channel entropy into the universe by interacting with various planets, and the different cards offer you different combinations of the 13 different emotive pathways to turn entropy into more complex interactions than just the stars are capable of alone. There is a really unique system that allows you to build your systems by essentially leveling up your planetary resources by recombining them. Depending on what cards you draw and how you combine them into your different star systems, you can unlock the upper pathways to start building your culture into new levels of life. Oh, it's that simple, is it? Mind you, this is her trying to explain the basic mechanics of her game. I didn't leave anything out there. I, right now, as recording this, understand what that means about as well as you do. Notably, she also ended the update with this line: "This game is kind of a spiritual quest for me to make it into the best game I can make it." The next handful of updates would progress rather normally. She expresses her excitement and keeps people updated, posts a gameplay demo which is now offline, unfortunately, and while the game was promised by the end of 2011, she would end up pushing that back a bit, as in December of 2011, she announced there would be a brief delay. And then another in February of 2012. And then another in March of 2012. It's clear that people were starting to get annoyed just by looking at the comments of the March update, but it is worth noting that with projects like this, even successful ones, they do tend to get delayed a little bit, especially if it's all being handled by a single person. Molly would close out that March update by saying the following: "It's been a crazy couple of months, but being in the home stretch now feels great. Sorry it's been taking longer than hoped, but I was hit with a pile of strange karma in December like you wouldn't believe. I'm not sure how long it's going to take to get all this printed. It will depend on the printer schedule, but I am confident that I'll be able to start sending Katalyka out by the end of the month." June 3rd, 2012. Ever since about December, I have been harassed by a voice that is claiming to be the sun. And it's attacking me and harassing me through almost every hour of the day. This is the best way I can describe what I'm going through. If anyone has advice or can offer help with this problem, it was not really what I was hoping for, and it was very much not what I was told making this game was going to be like last year when I started working on it. Voice says, "The Sun doesn't want you to publish Katalyka because it wants to be almost exactly like Katalyka, but keep it all a secret. If you publish your game, it is going to let people in on too many secrets." Paraphrasing. My response, the giant glowing mass of hydrogen that lights up our entire planet with heat and color wants to remain a secret? The post would then proceed to say the sun really needs to lay off, before then saying, "Apparently, my design for the game was based on ideas that were too close to reality, and people who have a lot of influence over life itself have been stomping on me and trying to keep me from finishing it." Oh, so we're dealing with that kind of crazy. Okay. What's kind of mind-boggling to me is how supportive everyone is in the comments. Relax. Ignore the sun. Take your time. We can wait. Be yourself. Enjoy, don't stress, over the wonders of creation. Peace, says Ray Smith. Buddy, this bitch is now 6 months late, has been radio silence for 3 of those months, and when she finally comes back, the first thing she says is, "It was his fault!" To be fair, there are some people in the comments properly reacting to how fucking batshit insane this is, but this update overall was received positively, which is just kind of strange to me. I mean, I guess that's a good thing. You don't want people screaming at the mentally unwell, but what's funny is that the next couple updates were just completely normal. July 11th, 2012. Hey guys, the cards are being printed. I changed some of the designs, but that means we're nearly done. July 17th, 2012. The printing is almost done and the boxes are ready to go. January 18th, 2013. The spiritual side of things have been calming down a lot in the last month or two, as we've been working through some of the more complex details behind the spiritual plasma attacks that have been trying to destroy me since 2008. Oh, dear Lord. After a paragraph saying the game is about 95% complete, she drops another bombshell by saying apparently the Navy's involved now. Not the Navy! Basically, the US Navy has been putting up transmitter systems all over the place to control the plasma transition, so that it can try to use information as a weapon. Apparently, I recorded some things in my game that were a reference to the Navy weapons, without knowing that, and so I became one of their targets. Wait a minute. My dad was in the Navy! Dad, how come you never told me about the Navy's involvement in the Katalyka Kickstarter conspiracy? So yeah, Molly is completely insane. The comments mostly reflect this, except for that bastard Ray Smith who is continuing to feed into her delusions. I now live in pure contempt of this man. This would be the pattern that Molly would fall into. She'd give a couple of normal-ish updates, disappear for 6 months or so, come back with a massive schizo post, and then repeat the process over and over, with people progressively getting more and more fed up with her bullshit, except for that bastard Ray Smith who just keeps sucking her dick throughout the entire time. By August of 2014, Molly would once again be promising the game is nearly done, even promising to start mailing it out to some backers, and to be completely fair, this does seem like something that actually happened. More on that later. Then in December, there was a backers-only update, so I have no idea what the hell weird shit was going on in there. But finally, in July of 2015, Molly would post an update saying that everyone who backed Katalyka would also be receiving a copy of a new game she's developing, Eternal War of the Candy Realms, as a way to say thank you for being patient with all of the delays. But that's not what happened. Molly would end up making another update in March of 2018, where, among other things, she flat out says she did not send everyone who backed the game a copy of Katalyka. She sent Katalyka to only half of her backers, the other half getting Candy Realms. Basically, she just completely abandoned the space game altogether and just gave everyone else this game they didn't ask for and didn't want. Also, apparently in that backers only update, Molly would express her belief that the sun's outrage was brought about by black people using their UV powers to disrupt the game. I'm not joking, that's a real thing she said. Molly would make one final post in November of 2023, which is just complete and utter incomprehensible nonsense. It's so long and full of just borderline gibberish. I couldn't even pick out a single part to highlight because this entire thing is just bewildering. It's truly concerning just how far down the rabbit hole Molly fell, calling herself an intersex angel without reproductive organs, and that she was that annoying white person who figured out that evil black racist people online were dominating UV's chlorophyll narrative. It's complete madness. And while I did lead you on to believe that this was some slow descent over years, it wasn't. Molly was always like this. See, Molly has a Twitter account, which she was active on from January 3rd, 2010 to June 18th, 2010. In those 167 days, Molly tweeted 2,999 times, with almost no likes, retweets, or anything. That's about 18 posts a day, every day, preaching to an absolute void, saying shit like this. Click. Oh, they fucked up big time. This is going to be hilarious. Keep the lines of communication open. We will find out who owns and operates this world. Then we will pull out their innards publicly. The transmitting system of control was designed in concert with social engineering to program people to become exploitable as possible. I believe in a system of ethics developed to find balance. They believe in a system of control to make others bend to their will. How did declaring Friday public cross-dressing day work for you, Miss Libby Bulloff? Spare any god nectar? OMG, they are training people to give up control of their mind to a transmitted signal. Something interesting I noted Monday night. Someone who was channeling System Evil was talking while their real voice spoke at me psychically. The psychic voice was like a second stream of sound coming from their own head, and they were talking to me and someone else at the same time. I know our nervous systems can be compromised by this, but I had never seen this effect before, so I'm sharing the information. Is this the first time HARP designed to play the angels instead of the other way around? Did you feel an urge to move to Seattle, but you weren't sure why? Could it be they draw countercultures there to put them to sleep? Proximity. Also, I wonder how many Sweden versions of the Endor generator scenes from Return of the Jedi I spawned this month. Okay, I was gonna go through the whole day, but that's where I'm at my limit. All of that was the same day, by the way. Yep, Molly was always crazy. And that's mostly the story of Katalyka. However, when I finished my research and I was looking over all of this, one thing just kept scratching at the back of my mind. Despite all of the delays, all of the headaches, all of the craziness, some people did get copies of Katalyka. And I just couldn't help but wonder, was it worth it? Was the game actually a fun game worth backing that just happened to be made by a crazy person? Of course, the only way I could find that out is if I got my hands on a copy of the game, but without knowing which backers actually got one, that'd basically just be me throwing a spear into the middle of the ocean attempting to catch a fish. If only there was some game out there, a simulator, if you will, where I could play tabletop games uploaded by people on the internet. Oh! Yes, I actually did drag my friends into a game of Katalyka. So a special thank you to Ryan, George, and Shads. Not to be confused with Shad Man, this is a different Shads, it's just very unfortunate they share a similar name. I want to make that very clear. Right away, just trying to figure out how this game worked was fucking taxing. George and I decided to read through the manual the night before so we would get a general grasp of how the game worked. But we were not ready for how difficult of a task that would end up being. To put it bluntly, the manual does a terrible job explaining what you do in the game. You know, the entire point of a game manual. I kid you not, there were multiple times where we read a rule and both had completely different interpretations of what the fuck it actually meant. Each culture is represented by the cards with a different icon, shown here in full represent relationship map. Explained in more details over the next few pages.
So, like, the money can only talk to gold.
So, money talks to balls, arrow talks to balls, but balls can talk to wine, and this, and the sun. An explosion, and the sun could just talk to everyone except for these guys. All I'm saying is that fucking sucks to be an anarchist.
I mean, I guess what they're saying is there's some, like, big key things, but then there's some subsects under it that you can't just grab.
The main problem is that the manual just does not explain certain things, or just throws random phrases at you like you're supposed to know what they are, like bond markers or emotional pathway tokens, the latter of which is never explained at any point in the manual, despite being a core component of how the game functions. Step 1, Hex Map Movement. Each trip between Celestials costs 1 entropy token, and both Celestials must be connected with bond makers. Remember that, bond markers.
Yeah.
Invest emotional pathway tokens into defense dice and attack dice pools. I'm sorry, but unless otherwise stated, they never explained what the bond markers are, did they?
Look,
Hang on, let me go back a sec. They never explained what bond token. This word has never appeared before now. No, the manual had to make time for an entire page-long, 5-paragraph-long diatribe about absolutely nothing, with key phrases like, emotion is the energy in motion, from the macro-organic to the micro-organic, generally, and it is part of the healthy flow of life. And hydrogen-based life sometimes has a hard time identifying with the colder and heavier atomic-based life. This entire page has nothing to do with the game, and I would love to read you the entire thing, just to give you perspective of how batshit insane this whole manual is, but it would just be minutes of me saying nothing. The manual sucks and only gave me the slightest indication as to how we're actually supposed to play this game. So, the only way to truly figure out how Katalyka plays was to sit my ass down, drag 3 of my friends into it, kicking and screaming, and play this damn game. I'm going to be uploading an edited down version of our session with this video if that interests you. You know, you want to see 4 guys attempt to grapple the ingrappleable. I don't think that makes sense, but fuck it, it works for me. But for now, here is my best assumption as to how you're supposed to play Katalyka. Katalyka, as I said, is a strategy game for 1 to 4 players. We'll go into that one section a little later. At the start of the game, everyone chooses their player culture card, basically their character sheet. See, in this game, you're not playing as the leader of a civilization, you're playing as, effectively a non-corporeal representation of a society's culture. Basically think of it like some sort of 11th dimensional entity, or a demigod, whatever you need to make sense of that. In the game, there are 4 decks of cards. The Galaxy deck, which gives different effects whenever it's on the board. The Celestial deck, which give you suns that give you this game's resource, called Entropy. Organica cards, which are your planets, and we'll get to that whole mess later. And the Katalyka cards, which are the species which inhabit your planets, which you can use to attack other cultures or defend your culture from attacks. So far, the game is comprehensible. You get entropy from your suns, and you use them to purchase either new suns, new planets, new beings, or perform certain abilities. The problem with the game is, again, it really fails to explain anything. We did not know how many suns you're supposed to get at the start of the game, so we just agreed on 3 starter suns, because George started off with a sun that only gave 1 entropy, with the cheapest thing he could buy costing 4 entropy. Meaning we would have to go around the table 4 more times before George could do anything.
Yeah. This is a bitch!
You get 1. However, while the game started off mostly smoothly, things really hit a wall when we started getting Organica cards. I still, right now, as I am recording this, do not know how the Organica cards work. The manual just does a terrible job explaining it. It has an entire page where it tries to break down what the fuck these cards even do, but it's just such a word salad, it's completely impenetrable. My best explanation is that you can put some entropy into the cards to get something called an emotional pathway token. And then you can, like, combine that planet with a different planet to get a different emotional pathway token, again, I think. But 1, most planets in this game do not clearly specify which of the 13 emotional pathways they represent, making it basically impossible to do this accurately. And 2, I do not know what an emotional pathway token is. Like, for one thing, the game does not supply them. Not the tabletop version of this game, mind you. As far as I'm aware, none of the mailed out versions of this game had emotional pathway tokens. A core, integral part of the game. But I guess it doesn't matter when the game never fucking tells you anywhere what these are, what they do, or why you want them. The Organica cards are the reason why this game breaks down. And it just makes you feel crazy. Because, like, these are a core part of the game you need to understand, but it just never tells you, so you're just left completely out of the loop here.
So you can put 4 entropy in and get a money icon or something? And if you have the money with the circle of life, you can make the green. And then if you add the orange power card, you can make a celestial power.
This game fucking sucks.
You might as well have just spoken a different language.
But speaking of things I don't understand, I don't know how you're supposed to win the game, which is infuriating because the manual does include a section with different ways to play the game with different win conditions, but only one of those conditions is actually explained. Galactic Empire. Very simple. You destroy the rest of your rivals. The end. Last man standing. Simple. King of the Well says someone has to hold the center of the board for some time, but it never specifies how long or how many points you get for holding the center of the board or anything like that. The last two, single player and co-op, simply say you win by achieving Katalyka with no explanation for what it means to achieve Katalyka. My best guess, and this is a completely blind guess by the way, is that maybe you have to have in your hand one emotional pathway token from each of the 13 emotional pathways. The only reason I could possibly come to this conclusion is that almost sounds like some kind of spiritual balance, and achieving Katalyka also sounds like some sort of achieving spiritual balance type bullshit, but again, this is a pure shot in the dark. I do not know how you're supposed to win this game. While these are the two biggest problems with this game, it has a lot of smaller issues too. The game never explains what these symbols on the map mean, for example, and at one point, while trying to explain the planet cards to someone, we pulled this card, which just left us completely befuddled.
And he put the 3 entropy on it. What the fuck?
What is this? What is this?
I don't know.
So I guess what I'm saying is, no. This game was not worth it. But at the very least, it did give us the sensation of looking at a higher dimensional entity, because we literally could not comprehend what the hell we were looking at. Despite my rambling, Katalyka is more than just the story of a bad board game. It's a story of when someone's insanity is not only ignored, but directly encouraged by the internet. Molly is clearly a mentally unstable person who needs help, but unfortunately, the people who surrounded her, for the most part, either acted completely passively towards her delusions, or in some cases, directly fed into them instead of urging her to go get help. Hell, in a way, this whole damn Kickstarter just fed into her delusions. Because of this, Molly didn't get the help she needed and spiraled. And we didn't even get a good game out of it! This stinks! So what's the takeaway from this episode? Make sure the person you're giving money to isn't crazy? I mean, obviously, if you see someone who's not doing well, do what you can to lend them a hand and urge them to get the help that they need. If Molly had gotten that help, we might not have been in this mess, and who knows, maybe we would have been better off for it. Either way, one thing's for certain, this cosmic spiritualism shit is whack, and I'm glad I'm not gonna have to hear about it again for a long time. Ah, god damn it. I'm Sir Strongman, and that was the thing.